Hi, this is Candy at My Chickens Have a Disco Ball, an urban pioneer. And this is my bean sprout experiment. This is some alfalfa sprouts. I've made that before. And it's from a health food store, okay? Those sprouts. So that's 1 day of sprouting. In 2 or 3 days, that jar will be full of bean sprouts, of alfalfa sprouts. The rest of these are just some beans, dried beans that I got from like grocery store type stuff. I got a pinto, a kamut is a wheat, mung bean, I got a split pea, and I've got black beans. And what you do is you soak it, the bean, here you go. You soak the beans in water, and you put overnight, and you put a towel over it in the dark, and then after that, for several days, in the morning you rinse, you drain off the water, and then morning and night you rinse it and drain off the water, and then the sprouts go. It's really good for your chickens. If these sprout, then they'd be great, because I can just put it in the chicken food and it'll be extra good for the chickens. That is, I cut up one of my butternut squashes, and that I grew in the garden this year. I grew it from a seed from a grocery store butternut squash. And yesterday I cut it up and roasted it and made a wonderful butternut squash soup. And these are the seeds I'm letting dry out. I don't think it's in a walk here. These are seeds I'm letting dry out so that when I get ready, I'm going to start planting them, and I can sell the butternut squash plants, or I can plant them in the garden. And how I made that butternut squash soup was so good. I roasted I cut the squash in half and turn it upside down and roast it in the oven for about 45 minutes. Then I cut it in chunks, and I could let it cool. I cut it in chunks, put olive oil and pumpkin pie spice on it with the fruit side up, and I roasted that for another 20 minutes or so. Then I let it cool. I peeled the peel off of it, and I put it in a little bit of water and boiled it, and mushed it up real good. And I added a can of evaporated milk and about a half, like a third cup of brown sugar. You can change that, and some pumpkin pie spice, and like a half a stick of butter. And I cooked that up until it all got mushy. I let it cool off. I put it in the blender, and then it was so good. You've got to try it. I can do a video on how I did that. I know it kind of said it quick, but basically you take your roasted butternut squash, you peel it, you boil it in like you would potatoes, and mash it like you would potatoes with a little bit of water, and you put a can of evaporated milk and butter and pumpkin pie spice and brown sugar, and when it cools off, you put it in the blender, and you put walnuts or pumpkin seeds or pecans in it. Oh my goodness, it was so good. So anyway, I'm going to show you my experiment here with see if they're going to grow. This one here, which is the alfalfa, I made those all the time. They're really good, but that is from a health food store specifically for sprouting. And sprouting, you could put the health food sprouting I'm going to put on sandwiches. The rest I'm going to feed the chickens. I imagine since they're for food, I don't imagine that it would hurt to eat the sprouts that I got from the grocery store, beans and stuff. Anyway, I just wanted to share an idea. I'm doing all kinds of farming experiments here. I mean, the chickens would love to eat those seeds, but I'll be more profitable to have a bunch of more, every seed can make so many. Like one plant can have 4 or 5 butternut squash, and they're kind of big. Anyway, peace. This is Candy at